he told you he murdered, that Gabby was gone. Yes. Let me show you what I've marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 6. Do you recognize this? Yes. This is what's been referred to in the press as the burn after reading letter. Yes. When was this? You would agree this letter is undated, correct? Correct. And the first page of it has a bird drawn on it, correct? Yes, well, not drawn. Was this card some stationery you had? Stationery, yeah, I made, but it wasn't drawn. What do you mean you made it? Well, I went to Hobby Lobby and I bought some blank cards and I rubber stamped them. So you had the stamp of a bird? Yes. Is there some significance about this bird? Nope. I have a frog, bird, and chicken. Okay. And the handwriting that's on the first page. Remember. Is that your handwriting? Yes. And why did you write remember on the front? It was remember, ... that I'll always love you. And so if you open it up, it's all about how I'll always love him. So it was like, remember, I'll always love you. Okay, is there a reason it's not dated? I just didn't think to date it. I don't date notes. I don't always date notes. When did you write it? Before he was leaving for him and Gab's trip in May of 21. Why did you write it then? Because I think I thought he might be going away a little longer than I knew he was going away and I knew I was going to miss him. And I just wanted to make sure he knew I loved him. And even though he was going away and I was, I was disappointed, but it didn't matter. It was okay because we'd gotten in that little thing about, I thought you were going to live here and save your money. So I didn't want him to think I was disappointed in him or I didn't love him. So whatever he decided to do, I would always, always, always love him. I'm creeped out. So this was written after he told you that they were going on a trip. Yeah, like right before they left, like just a few days. But your understanding of that trip, I think, according to your testimony, is that they were just going up to New York. Yeah, they told me they were going up to New York, but I guess from seeing them empty the storage unit, I was kind of beginning to suspect that they were going to be gone longer. Did you and he have a disagreement over him leaving? No, not a disagreement. But I did express that I was disappointed. I thought I had waited for us to move in together. After I went back to New York, I couldn't wait until we could all live together, which I know is silly. He's a grown-up boy, but I thought he would live with us for a while and, save his money and work and put it away. I thought he wanted to buy a house. So I expressed I was disappointed. But he's a grown boy and he can do what he wants. And so a tiny, I just thought maybe we were growing apart, and we were growing apart because he's growing up. He's not a little boy anymore. Did you write this letter because you were concerned that he didn't know you loved him? Well, I thought he might be concerned since I was disappointed, and he might think, yeah, I don't love him. But no, I really didn't think I just wanted to reassure him that I loved him no matter what. No matter if he moved away, if he decided to stay out west, whatever he did, if he didn't buy a house and decided to do something else, I don't know. Whatever he did, I would always love him. Why did you write burn after reading on it? Well, that was Gabby had bought Brian a book, and it was called Burn After Writing. And it was how you could put your deepest thoughts down. And if they were embarrassing, you didn't want anyone else to read them. The advice on the book was just to burn it. So it was the little joke that I knew he would get He would know what I was referring to. And I did want him to get rid of it. Not burn it, but throw it out so nobody read it. It's an embarrassing note. But it says burn after reading, not burn after writing. Yeah, because it's kind of the same thing because I knew he'd be reading it. I wrote it, but I knew he'd be reading it. So after you read it, burn it. Well, that's what someone writes on a letter when they don't want it to be discovered, right? Right? Okay. You didn't want this letter discovered, right? Yeah, it was embarrassing. And I didn't want, yeah, it's a silly letter. I didn't want. He's a grown boy and it was a joke, really. He didn't have to destroy it. And now I think it's sweet that he saved it. It was just a little joke. It says, turning to the next page, you are my boy. Nothing can make me stop loving you. Nothing will or could ever divide us. Right. Why did you feel you needed to say that? I guess I was just being over the top, mushy, emotional, just so he knew we were always, even if he grew up, he would always be my little boy. Even if he grew up, if he's like 40, 50 years old, he'll always be my boy and nothing could ever divide us. Okay. Even if he didn't speak to me for 6 months because he's mad or something, I would forgive him and we'd talk it like nothing. Okay. Nothing including murder. Would that make you stop loving him? Correct? Oh, I would always love him. Then it says, no matter what we do or where we go or what we say, we will always love each other. Right. No matter what, including murder. Well, I didn't say including murder, but I would always love my boy no matter what. And then you say if you're in jail, I'll bake a cake with a file in it. Yes. And what led you to believe he might be in jail? Well, I went with a series of silly examples of things that were far-fetched. I would never actually think he would end up in jail. He was such a nice, good boy. I would never imagine it, just like I would never imagine if you read on that he would ever go to the moon. I didn't think he was going to suddenly go to astronaut school and go to the moon. So I was just being exaggerating and silly, and I tend to be. I know I don't seem jokey, but I'm intending. I always joke. Even if my Tide Sticks was a joke. I'm always doing jokes. Even if they're not good jokes, I'm always joking. And so I just like making it light. Like if you go to jail, if you're in the moon, if you do that, no matter what, I love you, love you, love you. And it was just a silly letter. I never imagined the future when I wrote this. You understood he could have gone to jail for murder, right? Not when I wrote this letter and not ever. I wasn't actually going to put a file in a cake. Who does that? What would even lead you to think he might go to jail? Well, nothing. I was just being, what would lead me to think he would go to the moon? Nothing would lead me to think he would go to the moon. Now Brian's a fucking astronaut. And then next you say, if you need to dispose of a body, I will show up with a shovel and garbage bags. What led you to believe that he might need to dispose of a body? I know, okay, but this is so crazy. Someone had told me a joke and I thought it was funny. And I told people at work. I told Brian. I thought it was the funniest joke. Someone said to me, oh, a good friend is somebody that shows up with the garbage bags and a shovel. Oh, somebody you can call at 3 a.m. and they show up with garbage bags and a shovel and they don't ask any questions. Ha ha, that's so funny. Like, that's how you know a good friend. And I thought it was a funny joke. The person that told me said it funny. And I told it to Brian. I thought it was such a funny joke. And so I was referring to the joke, but I didn't have time to write out the whole joke. But I knew he would know the joke I was referring to. So that I would always, be there. Your intent in writing this letter was to express your depth of love to him. Right. But you don't say, whatever you do in life, I'll be proud of you, correct? I know. That could have been better. That would have been better. You don't talk about what a great childhood he had, right? Yes, right. You don't talk about memories of him, correct? Correct. You don't talk about places you've gone together. Correct? Correct. You don't talk about what he did to make you love him the way you do. Correct. But I have other letters like that. But we're talking about this letter. Right. I know. Yeah. Which talks about jail and murder. I don't write it in this letter, but I'd written other letters like that. I don't write it in this letter, but I'd written other. Okay. You don't say any of these things, but you talk about jail and burying a body. I know. It was a poor choice of words. When I read this later, I was like, this sounds awful, but it was nothing. It was a jokey, stupid letter that I dashed off before he left with lots of bad jokes and poor humor, but that's how I intended it. And I never imagined any of this. It just sounds so bad now. But at the time I wrote it, it was just jokey and stupid. Okay. But I do have letters I've written him just like that, listing all his good qualities, listing good memories. I've written tons of letters like that. But you didn't put it in this one. I know. I should have. I wrote this stupid one, which is written around the time he murdered Gabby. Yeah, way before. This was like May, before they went on the trip, and I just wanted to make sure. Well, we all have to take your word for that, right? Yes, yes. If that sentence, if you need to dispose of a body, I will. You have bring, and bring is crossed out. Why is bring crossed out? I was trying to remember how the joke went, and then I remembered it was show up. And it's like, the joke was a good friend shows up. Thank you guys all for being here. I'm sorry I'm not reading chat. I'm trying to get through this. I'm like, it'll take me 45 minutes. Thank you for being here, though. Appreciate you guys. Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next one.